Time once again for another installment of Super Mario Manga. This time we'll go right to the beginning with the very first book in the series, Super Mario Land. This series of weekly comics were originally published in Bon Bon magazine, owned by Kodansha Media. Starting in 1989 and running for almost a full decade, the KC Mario series, as it's often referred to, covered each new Mario installment in comic form in its original run. The entire series was written by Kazuki Motoyama. The Super Mario Land book was first released on August 17, 1989, and chronicles the story of the first Mario Game Boy game. Before we begin though, let me clear up something for people who may be wondering. There are actually 4 books in the Super Mario Land series. I guess at the time, Kodansha didn't really know how far the comics would run, and so the second, third, and fourth books carry the same name, but only the first volume is actually about Super Mario Land. Volume 2 is about Tetris, Volume 3 is about golf, and Volume 4 is about Keeks. Why not Alleyway or something else altogether? You got me. Will I translate and present these books someday? Yes. Anyway, let's begin. Transport yourself back in time to 1989. The Game Boy was brand new. You probably haven't even played one yet, and even for those who did, it was an all-new experience that took some learning to figure out. I mean, interchangeable games and how they work are all foregone conclusions now. But the Game Boy was certainly not the Game & Watch, though we love that too. So some things might be explained a little too simply for us. But remember, it's a product of its time, whatever that means. The book starts with a great detailed map of all 4 stages of Super Mario Land, telling you where each mushroom and star are located, as well as some other stuff too. Then the cast of characters is introduced. One thing about Super Mario Land is that some, but not all, of the Japanese names are retained, while the mainline Mario series mostly has original names in every language. Notice that Peach, aka Princess Toadstool, looks rather unhappy. That's because, as we all know, Daisy is the damsel in distress for this story. But it also begins the long-running rivalry between Peach and Daisy over Mario, which runs across, well, pretty much the entire 10-year run. There are also a few characters not in the game, but who are added to make the story more engaging. I mean, after all, in every game, it's pretty much Mario running by himself, and as a comic, that's not too interesting. Chapter 1 begins with Mario and Peach showing up at Princess Daisy's castle for a visit. It appears that Peach and Daisy go a long way back, but Mario is meeting Daisy for the first time. He's very taken by her looks, and she acts in a very flirtatious way to him, much to the ire of Peach. They immediately start bickering, and the fighting escalates into a full-blown food fight. Mario tries to intervene, but suddenly, out of nowhere, the castle is under attack. An air raid over the kingdom sends its residents into a panic. Then, the leader of this army, Tatanga, who calls himself the Emperor of the Universe, descends in front of the castle gates and declares Sarasa Land his own. Mostly because he's about 1 meter tall, Daisy doesn't take him seriously, but her father, the king, bows down and scolds Mario for pointing out his tiny stature. Tatanga wastes no time and abducts Princess Daisy. Mario runs after her, and Peach follows, but Mario says it's too dangerous for a girl to go. Okay, before you point it out, yes, Peach was in Super Mario 2. No, it was not released in Japan at this time, 1989, so the reader wouldn't know that. No, Peach could do it just as well as Mario, regardless of being a girl. Or maybe that's a yes. It's a little hard to follow the circle of logic here. So, Mario takes off, but Peach still wants to help, and remembers the present that they had bought for Daisy. She opens it up to reveal Mecha Kuribo, a robotic operating helper. He's got 4-wheel drive and a propeller head, as well as a laser scope to blast anything in his way. Peach sends Mecha Kuribo off to follow Mario. When they meet up, he explains to Mario that he knows the terrain of Sarasa Land and can help navigate him through. Mario exclaims how lucky he is to have Peach supporting him. Mecha Kuribo tells Mario that they are crossing into the Pirapito Kingdom, a dry desert resembling ancient Egypt. Some Goombo spot Mario and plan to inform Tatanga of what's going on. But Mario quickly stomps them. I mean, after a few Mario games, it's just instinctual, right? Mario finds a pipe which he believes will take him to a bonus zone, and tells Mecha Kuribo to wait here a minute. While Mario is gone, we learn that Mecha Kuribo is really Princess Peach. I know, you didn't see that coming. Mario comes back and they find Bombshell Koopas waiting. Mario makes quick work of them, but is puzzled by the bombs that they left behind. Well, it is a bomb, so it blows up right in Mario's face. Just then, a fighter fly jumps on Mecha Kuribo and gives him a kiss. But remember, it's actually Peach and Mario doesn't know it. Mario retaliates with a round of Super Balls, which the book explains is how fire flowers work in the game. The fighter fly is defeated and Mario uses the Super Ball to gather coins in hard-to-reach places. Hey, wait, hold on, that works? All this time, I never knew that. The two move on, and Mario muses how these Super Balls might give him a chance to see up Peach's dress, which becomes a running gag in future books. Mecha Kuribo scolds Mario for daring to think such a thing, and picks him up by the toques, forcing him to apologize. The two venture through underground catacombs until they come across a giant Game Boy. If you've played the game, you know what this means, as you have a chance to get a bonus after each stage. Mario explains that the latter can help you or hurt you, depending. He pushes the A button and gets a 3-up. Mecha Kuribo says they have to move quickly. Mario agrees. If they don't hurry, Daisy will be forced to marry Tatanga against her will. Boon Boons appear and make their attack. Mario counters with a Super Ball strike. He wins the battle, and Peach just can't stand the sight of any bugs. Mario, doing his victory dance, jumps up and hits a block, from which a heart pops up. On the back of the heart is a note from Daisy, with lots of love. In a fit of jealousy, Mecha Kuribo crangs Mario over the head, to which Mario exclaims that Mecha Kuribo must be Peach. No reveal yet though. We're only 36 pages in anyway. They come to the big pyramid. Mecha Kuribo says that the boss must be inside. There's also a lot of danger ahead. Rocks fall from the ceiling. Mario pushes Mecha Kuribo out of the way to safety. The shock makes Mecha Kuribo cry. Mario finds it strange that a robot can cry, and Mecha Kuribo says it's just oil coming out of his eyes. They move on, taking different paths, with Peach very, very nervous about the whole journey. The bottom path chosen by Mario leads to many coins, while the other, nothing. They eventually reunite and find themselves face to face with Gowl. Mecha Kuribo uses his propellers to fly away. But then they face King Totomes, the boss of World 1. Off in the distance, Daisy is locked away and begs for help. So, as I've said 29 times already, Peach is in a robot body, and somehow this gives her robot-like powers, so she can see King Totomes' weak spots and knows how to defeat him. She tells Mario that 5 hits with the Super Ball will do the job. Mario manages to get 4 hits in, thanks to the Super Ball bouncing off the walls. But Totomes gets in an attack and Mario loses the super power. Mario, trying to find another way to defeat Totomes, tries a head stomp, but that never works on bosses. Sometimes mini-bosses, but never the end ones. I mean, come on, Mario. He loses his balance and falls off, landing on a lever which collapses the bridge and sends King Totomes to a fiery end. Princess Daisy is freed and rewards Mario with a kiss. Of course it really isn't Daisy, it's a fighter fly in disguise. Mario and Mecha Kuribo leave Pirapito and set off to find the real Daisy. And so begins Chapter 2. Mario and Mecha Kuribo arrive in the Muda Kingdom. Daisy and Tatanga are preparing their wedding ceremony. While preparing his wedding feast, Tatanga takes some Torions, eats them alive, and tosses out the bones. which in the game are called Honnen. Tatanga orders them to go and find Mario. This is actually mentioned in the Super Mario Land manual as part of the backstory of the game. Well, the Honnen do find Mario and take one bite out of his tuchus. That's the second time so far he's been hurt there. The pain is so intense it makes Mario jump out of his overalls. And yes, we see Mario's wang. I know many people use the phrase "I'm not one to nitpick," but that's not me. I am one to nitpick. I mentioned this originally on this channel on October 10th, 2016, telling you that these books had scenes just like this. Yet somehow this didn't make the internet until 2017. And was I credited? No. And every article was just like, oh my god, WTF? With no explanation of what's going on here. So let's break it down. If you've ever seen an illustration in a baby's health book, you'd see that the two wangs are identical. So the gag is that he has a baby wang, which you'd easily understand because in Japan you'd come across this drawing somewhere. Also, there's a playful tension between Mario and Peach, and since Peach is secretly hiding and Mario doesn't know it, the whole thing is a great laugh. Anyway, Peach as Mecha Kuribo takes offense and socks Mario right in the face, sending him down a pipe, which is a bonus zone. Coming back up though, he gets ambushed by a Mechapon. A heated battle ensues when Mario summons the spirit of Ultraman and launches Mecha Kuribo's head to battle Mechapon. I know this frame looks confusing, but somehow Peach has switched helmets. Simply put, Mario defeats Mechapon and then confronts the Yurarinpu. Mario tries the Super Ball, but it just doesn't work. So he wraps the tail around Yurarinpu's mouth to win the fight. Mecha Kuribo climbs into one of the UFOs that litter the stages and discovers the Marine Pop, which allows Mario to dive underwater and blasts enemies quickly and safely. Oh, and the Yurarimpu sits quietly in the back seat. Moving along, the Marine Pop is grabbed by the giant octopus Gunyon, but Mario just blasts him straight in half. With everything clear, they tear down a wall and find Mario's name spelled out in coins. Mario says it must be a message from Daisy. After that, the underwater boss appears from the darkness. The boss is gigantic and fearsome. Mecha Kuribo's robotics start to kick in, and Mecha Kuribo, who is really Princess Peach, tells Mario the quick way to defeat the boss. The Marine Pop surfaces and the three find Daisy, then free her. Only to have Daisy transform into an octopus, ink Mario, and scuttle away. 2 chapters, 2 kingdoms, 2 stages down. We're halfway through the book. When we come back, it's off to the Eastern Kingdom.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Yes, and Mario is your only hope. Team up with him in Super Mario Land. Guide him on the Nintendo Game Boy. Challenge the mysteries and terrors of ancient Egypt. Battle all the horrors of the deep. Master lots of weird worlds to give Mario a happy ending and make your world a better place. Super Mario Land and other exciting games for Game Boy. Nintendo. Now you're playing with power. Portable power.
初めて一緒に街を出た新開発モノトーン液晶画面カートリッジ交換でいろんなゲームが楽しめるそしてステレオ効果サウンドハンディゲームマシンゲームボーイ君とならどこまでもゲームボーイ専用ソフトスーパーマリオランド対戦型ベースボールケーブルをつなぐとファミコンでは味わえなかった面白さゲームボーイ専用ソフトとことん付き合える仲間がいる
Welcome back. Chapter 3 follows World 3, the Eastern Kingdom. If you didn't notice, each of the names of the areas is a reference to the culture that the game takes, which I'm sure you know the game does in heavy doses. Easton is a portmanteau of Easter and stone because it's supposed to be an analog of Easter Island, which Japan has some kind of obsession with that I just can't understand. Off we go. When Mario and Mecha Kuribo, who is really Princess Peach, land at the beach in Easton, they first encounter the giant Moai stone heads, which are the main attraction of the real Easter Island. But these are alive, and they attack immediately. Then they encounter Gon, the rolling rocks that are used to carry Mario across the spiky pits that are too wide to jump across. Naturally, they are afraid, as living rocks have been trying to kill them since they got here. So, Mecha Kuribo stretches out Mario's face to look like a Moai, and they quickly become allies. Meanwhile, Tatanga tells a captive audience how he plans to kill the evil Mario and save the Eastern Kingdom. The boss of this world, Hoi Hoi, looks on. As an aside, the book makes mention that Hoi Hoi is not Sun Plaza Nakano, who was a famous celebrity in Japan at this time and is actually featured as an enemy in All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. And yes, I will get to that topic sometime soon, if I already haven't. Getting back to Mario, they finally meet a human from the Eastern Kingdom, a girl named Sue. Mario thinks she's cute, and Peach gets jealous, Natch, but can't break kayfabe that she's a robot. Sue says that she will be their guide in Easton, but it seems as if there's no safe place in the kingdom at all. Trying to jump around all of the spiders, Mario gets caught in a web. All the enemies who were chasing Mario from before have caught up and swarm Mario. Luckily, they free Mario from the sticky web and entangle themselves. However, a gang of spiders surround Mario and move in quickly. Hoi Hoi the boss shows up and starts firing off a machine gun and blasts the spiders. I don't know, maybe they're at war with each other? Together, they arrive at the boss fortress, a giant, complex maze. There are 3 dead ends, each with a special gag. One dead end leads to Bakabon, a famous manga character who appeared in Bon Bon magazine. The second dead end leads to the old lady from Kitaro or something, who says, "Let's do a puff puff," which, if you don't know what that is, I feel sorry for you. Then there's the third dead end. Are you ready for this? I don't think you can handle it. Are you sure? Really? The third dead end is this! A weird monster face looking guy standing next to a turd, totally butt-ass naked! And his, well, either his hand is his or his is his hand. Hello, internet, you forgot this one. So let's unpack the zillion questions this image brings. What is it? Where'd it come from? And why is it here? Well, like I said, the other 2 panels feature other Bon Bon characters, and this one is too. Yes, this thing had its own manga. It was from about 1985 or so and was called A Hogan Yo, which means, hey, it's Hogan. The story is about an out-of-control American pro wrestler. Are you piecing all this together? It's a parody of Hulk Hogan. He was WWF champion after all. Now that you know all of this, can you ever get the image out of your mind of Hulk Hogan doing his famous ring poses with his dong? You're welcome. Okay, so I'm sure you're all laughed out from that one, so let's just go to Chapter 4. The final chapter is the Chai Kingdom. Mario and Mecha Kuribo, who is really Princess Peach, come across a sign that says the wedding of Katanga and Daisy will be held today at Tatanga's mountaintop tower. Everyone's invited. So they take off to stop Tatanga before it's too late. But of course, enemies are in the way. This time it's Pionpi. They try to escape, but Mecha Kuribo gets a flat tire and can't run away. Mario piggybacks Mecha Kuribo and escapes. They come to a town and meet Nanchan. He takes them to his home, the Imperial Palace, which looks just like a Chinese restaurant inside. Mario eats and Peach goes hungry, as after all, robots can't eat. But Peach as Mecha Kuribo does manage to sneak in a can of coffee when no one's looking. After they eat, Mario talks to Nanchan's father about how to reach the tower in time to stop the wedding. He tells Mario they could take the Sky Pop, which he owns and is a master pilot of. As part of the preparation, Mario is told that the house is protected by a sacred signboard, which keeps Pyompis and other evil away. So Mecha Kuribo suggests that they make a second one, which will protect them as they go to the tower. Then, some rice is brought to Mecha Kuribo. Peach takes off the helmet and proceeds to eat. Yet, she hears Mario and Nanchan talk about why the rice is needed, and Nanchan says that it weakens the Pyompis. They take the sign down, and then a Goombo appears at the door, saying he's good-hearted and needs the sign to rid himself of Pyompi that's chasing him. But as soon as they open the door, the Goombo takes the sign and destroys it. Immediately, Pyompis swarm the house and tear it down. The family also gets bit by Pyompis, which turns them into zombies. Pyon means jump in Japanese, so it's like saying a jumping zombie. Get it? If Mario gets bit, well, it's game over. No pun intended. He calls out for Mecha Kuribo to help. Mario falls through the door and breaks Mecha Kuribo, which finally gives us the reveal that it was Peach all along. Mario is not actually mad, but grateful that Peach was there the whole time to journey with him. I bet he wished he hadn't said it was no place for girls back on page 24. She urges Mario to take the sign and run to the airport. It would be her final act of kindness, as she too has been bit and has become a Pyompi herself. Enemies on the ground alert forces above that Mario is on the way. Mario dogfights his way up the mountain while the wedding vows for Daisy and Tatanga are underway. Mario crashes through the castle walls and interrupts the wedding kiss, which is of course what makes the marriage legally binding and official. Mario plows into Tatanga, who ends up kissing Father Goombo. The battle is far from over as Tatanga gets in his spaceship for the final showdown with Mario. So get this, the missile controls in the Sky Pop are a Game Boy's control scheme. Mario says the only way to do it is to hold down A for rapid fire and push B as fast as he can. As the showdown continues, Mario is pushing the B button so fast his fingers are bleeding. Enough missiles hit Tatanga's spaceship that it explodes in a giant fireball, killing the self-proclaimed Emperor of the Universe. Tatanga's death breaks the zombie spell. Peach and all the people of the Chai Kingdom are freed. Mario scoops up Daisy in the Sky Pop and, as a reward for his bravery, gives him a big thank you kiss. But there's still some gunfire in the air, and one hits the Sky Pop. It was Peach. And so ends the story of Super Mario Land. A tale of bravery, exotic lands, bizarre love triangles, and Hulkamania running wild that would never be in the game, but it's all in books.